I wasn't going to do this segment of News One Roland Martin show, but I just absolutely had to after I watched it for the third time. This segment has to do with President Obama issuing executive orders tightening up the loopholes as far as gun sales are concerned. Now, for whatever reason, and I'm going to be a little racial on this one, white gun nuts lose their minds anytime anybody mentions anything about tightening up gun laws. Now, I read the orders myself, and President Obama did not propose anything other than tightening up loopholes and declaring what a buyer was. So as far as all of these crazy people talking about having their guns taken away from them, that could not be farther from the truth. But then later on in the segment, you're going to see a black Republican just get absolutely served by one of the panelists. So let me start this video, and you can see what I'm talking about.
Another story we've been following, of course, when President Barack Obama announced from the White House his executive orders dealing with the issue of trying to end gun violence, folks just lost their damn mind.
Did he overreach again past the Congress by creating a law that's not even there?
The federal government does not have a right to tell us we can't own a firearm. I don't care.
The radical is this centralized, overwhelming, dictatorial government and this freaking president who is issuing 20 executive actions on our guns and trampling all over the United States Constitution. You know, that's extreme. That's radical.
Bring it down a little bit. Now, things got a little heated even here on News One Now. Yesterday, between Republican strategists General Caldwell and Angela Rye, the principal and CEO of Impact Strategies.
The fact that he's going to go through the recipients of Social Security benefits and those who he, or rather have been indicated that they're not able to handle their financial affairs, that they would possibly have their guns taken away. That's an issue here. And
so, okay, I would please cite that fact when we get back from a break.
In this instance, you can have one gun, you can pass it down to your child, and you have to register as a dealer. That's an issue.
No,
it
that's
is true. It's true. I've seen the executive order.
So, and of course, you've been involved in
the fact.
So 1 second. You've been involved in 1 second. All right, then. So there was a little drama on yesterday. So, folks, we decided to say, let's do a little fact checking. So we went to whitehouse.gov, where they have all of the executive actions listed. And here's what it says about Social Security. The Social Security Administration has indicated that it will begin the rulemaking process to include information in the background check system about beneficiaries who are prohibited from possessing a firearm for mental health reasons. Now, here's what the White House says about gun dealers. It doesn't matter where you conduct your business, from a store, at gun shows, or over the internet. If you're in the business of selling firearms, you must get a license and conduct background checks. Sounds to me like Gianna was a wee bit wrong about that. See, so your assessment again on how people are just utterly losing it over this whole issue as if the president, well, he's taking our guns.
Well, I think he should take our guns until we get a grip of racism in this country, which isn't covered in the background checks.
Oh, Lord.
So.
But he's not taking the gun. I mean, what's happening here is he's being very reasonable. And in fact, what he's saying, most Americans agree with. There should be a background check. We know that it's ridiculous to allow people to just run up into a gun show or go over the internet and you don't know who they are. You don't know their mental status. You don't know what they've done in the past. You don't know if they're a domestic abuser. You don't know anything about this person, and they can just pop up and buy a gun. That's insanity. It's absolute insanity.
Well, you can't buy a gun over the internet without going through a background check. And for those of us who live here in the inner city, I can tell you for a fact, because I go to gun shows, I have never seen Pookie and Ray Ray at a gun show trying to buy a firearm.
I'm not worried about Pookie and Ray Ray when I go to the movie theater. I'm worried about Joey. who pops up in there with a long coat and shoots up everybody in the theater. Let's just be real about it. Most of the people who are out there doing these mass shootings are people who get, what? How do you say that? Because a lot of these people who actually end up doing that go to these gun shows and they get those weapons there, and they don't have any check on that system until this president went through with this executive order.
If you go to a gun show and buy a gun from a dealer, there is a mandatory background check that has to occur. The only time that there isn't a background check is if I, as an individual, have a gun and I decide I don't want my gun anymore and I choose to sell that gun. Right. I'm not a dealer. I'm an individual who has a gun who simply doesn't want it anymore.
So
that's not true, because I go to the gun shows all the time down here in Texas, and all you have to do is pay your fee to set your table up, and you can bring your guns, your partner's guns, and Johnny's guns, lay them out on the table, and because you don't have an FFL license and are not required to have an FFL license at those gun shows, you can sell all the guns you want. So when they start talking about everybody at the gun shows have to run background checks, that's not true. And it's also not true that a lot of the guns are being sold out of the back of cars. So, because why would you come to a gun show, nobody know that you're there, and what are you doing? Running around screaming gun for sale, and only have one gun up in there? No, that's not happening.
If you are an individual with a gun, you would just go and get a booth, and then you would just sell it, and therefore you're not a dealer. I don't understand, because this is
those booths are expensive too.
Back of your car, use a trunk. You just go and you sell it to you.
So we think all these mass shootings, these guns are coming from the back of trunk cars. That's what we honestly believe. And we know that.
But that's what the president believes clearly, because that's what his legislation. And that's another problem. The president doesn't legislate in this country. Congress legislates.
Hold on, but see, that's why I gotta stop. Don't talk about the Constitution when the Constitution says the president can issue executive orders.
Absolutely.
Republican presidents can issue executive orders, and Democratic presidents. I'm sick of people talking about the president doesn't legislate. The Constitution allows the president of the United States to issue executive orders. And if Congress wanted to act, they could have. The Republicans, on 62 separate occasions, voted on health care. Now, they want to vote on the issue of guns. Well, damn it, go to work. But stop trying to say, well, we legislate. If you had moved, he would not have done executive action. He waited until the final year in office to issue them. Sounds to me like he was waiting for Congress to do some work.
Well, not only that, on the very
when Barack Obama was running for president, Barack Obama stated that one of the...
one second, you can finish your point. He was Senator Barack Obama when he runs. We use titles and respect on the show.
When he was running for president, he stated that one of the biggest faults with the Bush administration was George Bush's use of executive orders.
And this is where he's getting ready to get his butt kicked.
Actions, and when he was president, he was not going to do that.
Well, he said he was not going to issue any.
He said that in 2007. And here he is now, again, doing the exact opposite.
And you know that the day that this president was inaugurated, your party had a little powwow in which you made a decision as a party, the leaders in your party made the decision to oppose any and every piece of legislation that this president attempted to get through Congress. You made that powwow. You made that decision. And your leader said that your #1 priority as a party was to make sure that this was a one-term president. You know that it was your strategic action to oppose any and everything that this particular president was doing. And when you make the logical decision to not legislate, to then sit back and say, well, I don't want him to pass any executive orders. In essence, you are saying that when this country was drowning in financial disorientation and a world financial crisis that was actually moving down the ship, instead of picking up a paddle and trying to get us out of this tornado of a financial disaster that we were in, much less everything else that's going on, you just sat there and you were willing to make the country sink for your own political gain. You have no right to sit here. You have no right to sit sit here now. You have no right to sit here now and say we don't want him to do anything. Because you didn't want to do anything.
And they did absolutely nothing when they had complete control of the federal branch of government, the presidency, and both houses of Congress.
We have health care, do we not? Do we have health care? Yes, we do. And it's not because of you.
Kicked his butt. I love it when these Republicans, I don't care white, black, but the black ones, I got to be honest with you, some of these black Republicans are just plain stupid, and they spouting these party lines, and then they don't have the wherewithal to do any research so they can at least try to back themselves up. So this brother just got served, honestly served. But again, stated in earlier, Barack Obama is not going after gun confiscation. He's trying to stop the problem before the gun is acquired. And all of these Republicans and a few Democrats as well are losing their minds because the words gun control basically are like a red flag in front of a bull as far as they're concerned. And props to this sister because, again, she kicked that guy's behind.